Today's You Don't Hate.
Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
So for those of you that have never seen You Don't Hate, we essentially break down a movie into 5 categories. So those 5 categories are plot, acting, directing, action scenes / special effects, and characters. Now, we're gonna put up a scoreboard and we're gonna add it up. Now we're gonna show you don't really hate this movie. So Manny, tell us the plot.
Well, the plot in Star Wars: The Last Jedi, pretty much it takes up right where The Force Awakens leaves off. Now there's the rebellion, the resistance is pretty much down to its crumbs. Like the First Order is completely, just destroying them, and they're like hanging on by a thread. At the same time, Rey is at Ahch-To. She's trying to get Luke to come and help the resistance, trying to convince him to come back and help his sister overcome the First Order.
All right. So, what do you think about the plot?
It's your standard Star Wars, good versus evil type of movie, but it is. I thought that Rian Johnson executed it right. I thought there was some subtle things here and there that could have been differently, but overall, I love the plot. I thought the plot was really good.
Overall, do you like the plot?
I love the plot. There was some deviation. We'll talk about that when we get to directing.
All right, great. I'm glad you distinguished that. Me, for the plot, I liked it as well. It was a simple plot. As you mentioned, the resistance is pretty much decimated, just for a few left. And so now they're trying to escape the Order. Right, this is where we continue. So, ultimately, Terrence, put us down for 1. All right, now we get to acting. Now we get to the really good stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so acting. What'd you think about the acting?
From all the actors, they pretty much played their role.
Is there anybody that stood out?
The one that stood out for me on 2 sides was obviously Mark Hamill. There was a little bit difference as far as the substance to Luke. Again, we'll get into that with directing. But Oscar Isaac, for some reason or another, I thought Oscar Isaac was, as far as the acting, I thought he was the best actor in the entire movie.
Okay.
Next to Mark Hamill, because I thought Mark Hamill was excellent. But I think Oscar Isaac had some pretty good scenes, some comedic scenes. He brought a lot of depth and a little bit more to the character of Poe Dameron that he did not display in The Force Awakens. So, you got to see a different side of Poe. So I really, really like Oscar Isaac. Not taking away from anybody else.
No.
Ridley was great. Fisher was great.
Is there one person that you felt did not do well?
I don't think that they didn't do well. I just think they didn't capitalize his character as far as him taking it to another level, and that's Boyega. I thought Boyega was pretty much at a standstill from where Finn was in the whole Force Awakens, because he was pretty much in the whole movie, and I don't think his character developed to where it needed to be. But he did what he.
But his acting, we're talking. No,
I'm talking about his acting. He played the hand he was dealt.
Yeah.
I'll just say that. He played the hand he was dealt. I just didn't see any improvement in his character.
I agree. There wasn't really a standout acting for me. I think everybody did well, but there was also no one who I felt the scene seemed forced. As if it wasn't something natural. Everybody just played their part and they did it well.
Okay.
All right. So Terrence, put us down for 2 for light.
2-0.
All right. Now we're gonna get to directing.
Oh boy.
This is crucial here.
Rian Johnson, I thought he pretty much obliterated, and like Terrence likes to say,
F you, JJ!
F you, JJ! Because he obliterated everything that was already set up in The Force Awakens. Now, granted, the J.J. Abrams was pretty much using The Force Awakens to introduce Star Wars to a new generation while implementing some of the old nostalgia and then adding new characters to take along, for a new journey. Rian Johnson pretty much took all of that and just made this movie its own. There was some questionable things that he did as far as the characters, as far as the tone. He was fine, but the direction that he took some of the characters and the stories, the subplots, and all that, I thought that there was some questionable decisions. Even though a lot of the questions, because he's been asked about some of these, and his justification for his decisions they made a lot of sense. But when you're looking at it as a Star Wars fan, it didn't. I mean, you have to really look at what episode 9 is going to do. So right now, I'm going to have to give it a hate.
All right, a hate. So directing for me, I felt as if this movie had so much potential, and at the end of the day, there was characters that were just, they were not used correctly. Boyega's character, mainly Finn, went on a mission that did absolutely nothing. It was just to fill in some space, right?
Give him something to do.
Yeah, give him something to do. We got this actor.
They should have left him in the box.
Right?
He did more in there.
The way they decided to do away with certain characters, spoiler alert, Snoke dies.
F you, JJ.
Right? Even the intro scene, I think he really didn't have a direction where he wanted to take the film. I think he was just trying to go through this. But all that being said, nothing that he did really stood out for directing. This could have been a no-name director, and it would have been, for me, it would have been the same outcome.
Well, the way it looked to me was, since he's pretty much in charge of the next trilogy, it almost looked like he was pretty much continuing that trilogy as opposed to focusing on the actual
that's a great
Skywalker
point.
lore.
Yeah.
So.
F you, JJ.
Yeah, I mean, really, you didn't know who directed it, right? There could have been some, they could have given it to some awesome film school student and been like, hey, direct this film. I think the same mistakes would have been done from an inexperienced.
Maybe. So what do you got?
Dislike.
Hate. 2-1.
2-1.
Disagree.
Action scenes. Yeah, sir, if you wanted to be on the show, you should have been on it. All right, we're going to move on to the fourth category, which is action scenes / special effects.
Okay.
So what'd you think about the action scenes?
I thought the action scenes, when they happened, were awesome. I honestly, I'm judging for the quality, not the quantity, because there were not enough action scenes, in my opinion. In my opinion, it's just my opinion. Not as much as Force Awakens, not as much as Empire, but it's still.
I disagree.
I'm sorry. It was not as actiony as a new word. It was not as action packed as Empire. Okay, fine. Even Jedi.
Yeah.
The real Star Wars, like Terrence likes to say. But when it happened, the action scenes were great. I thought that the ending scenes were great. The Rey and Kylo, the Reylo fight in Snoke's throne room was excellent. So when the action scenes happened, I thought they were great.
Okay.
Visually, and except for the Mary Poppins thing, visually, that movie was beautiful. It was beautifully shot.
Okay, great. So you say
I like.
All right. I'm going to go with action scenes, and I'm going to say I really did like the action scenes. We'll go back and watch all the other films. There was films that did not have a lot of action. Okay, and then some of the action that they did have, just felt convoluted. This one actually was a slower pace with the action. I think they used the action well, and the throne room obviously was the number one scene, right?
Absolutely.
The last fight scene where it's the Force Ghost fighting and it's not actually a fight, he's just evading, was not, you could say people liked it, some didn't. At the end of the day, it was pretty entertaining as well.
But I was talking about when those raggedy speeders were going
no,
the gorilla walkers.
Yeah.
That was cool.
That was cool.
That whole thing was cool. I kind of got off. I did get off.
It's not as if it's not. That's what I'm saying. The acting for me, I liked it as well.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna go down to the fifth one.
Fifth one, characters.
What'd you think?
The character usage was completely wrong in this movie. Mark Hamill said it best, that is not my Luke Skywalker.
Wow.
So I honestly believe, now even though there, like I said before, Rian Johnson does justify the path he was taking with it, but at the end of the day, Luke Skywalker would have probably, as soon as Yoda would have knocked some sense into him, he would have been gone. He would have been gone. He would have lifted the X-Wing fighter out of the water, fixed it, and gone. He would have been gone, and he would have done all of that in person, what he did. So the misuse of Luke, giving Leia Force abilities, I did not have a problem with. But if you knew that she was already, after post-production, you knew she had already passed, it was going to be difficult to bring her back, then I would have just killed her off right there. But, yeah. I
agree. So, wait.
I hate. Yeah.
As I hated the characters as well. Complete misuse. When you're on screen and the main actors, the ones who've been carrying this film, that people remember are the ones complaining, saying this is not the way the movie should be. It tells you how the movie's going. It just fell apart. The characters just were not there. So ultimately, I hate as well. So now that leaves us where? 3, 2. You actually do like this movie. Now, typically this is where Manny goes on his spiel and tells you how much money this movie has grossed, this, that, the other. So actually, most of y'all don't think it's fun. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna break something else down for you. And I'm going to give you some good, interesting facts. Most people give this movie crap because... why? Oh, I can't believe they killed off Snoke. This movie sucks. We go in Force Awakens, people were like, oh, I can't wait. We have this new, almost nostalgic feeling to go into a movie. Now we saw what they did with pretty much the history of Star Wars, and they redid it. So people go in with already a preconceived notion. That's where we have to leave that behind and just go in enjoying each movie differently and saying, this is not what I'm expecting. Lower your expectations every time you're going to go see a movie.
Lowered expectations.
And you're really going to enjoy this movie for what it is. You know, it's not going to be one of the ones that carry it. Now, Manny, let me ask you.
Fact, people didn't like Empire Strikes Back either.
Yeah, no, they didn't. I was going to get to that in my second point, closing. But hey, Manny, you get a little bit more exposure. You see the people. What were people's reactions coming out of the film?
Majority of the audience that came out of the film absolutely loved that movie.
Yeah.
And a lot of them actually went back to see it seconds and thirds and fourths times.
And the reason I ask you that is because, for the most part, a lot of this hate comes from just people bandwagging. Oh, I can't believe it. And so we're so quick to point out the things that we dislike. But really, truthfully, you go in and watch a movie, go in, lower your expectations. You're going to be surprised when you leave those ideas how much a really good this film really is. Or other films you go in thinking, wow, this was actually a good movie, if you don't let other people. Now, Empire Strikes Back, people did not like.
No, they
right?
did not.
But now that's a classic. That's listed as the best. That's the best.
And not even just Star Wars. It's considered one of the best sequels, if not the best sequel ever made.
Yeah. So ultimately, that's why you don't hate The Last Jedi.
You don't hate this movie.
So go out and watch it. Go to your local movie theater, or go to Blockbuster. Go rent it. Whatever.
In Alaska.
Manny, take us home.
Just like Art said, whatever you feel about the movie, leave it in the comments below. Be sure you hit our Facebook and Twitter pages. Send us some feedback, whatever you feel about the movie. Let us know what you feel, or give us your ranking of all of the Star Wars films in general. How was Rian Johnson as a director? Let us know how you feel about that. Be sure to hit us on our Patreon page. Terrence has it right about here somewhere. And hey, whatever you want to see as far as give us feedback on the show. If you want to see something different, something new, let us know. For Terrence in the back and asking where the hell she's at, I'm Manny.
I'm Art.
And we'll see you next time.
I'm saying I don't want to do a lot of editing. I'm trying to do it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm trying to get it in one take instead of having to go back and match together shit.
Okay.
So do it again. And do it right.
Sound like my wife.